Hey everyone, it is Kate here on the morning of our first day back at sea, and we are still north of Paranagua and headed towards Portobello. Anyways, we put on this preventer on the main because we're sailing downwind, and there's a lot of chop and waves out today, so yeah, it's looking like there's a little bit more breeze and we're moving a little bit better. And I'm sure when Curtis wakes up, he's probably going to want to put up the spinnaker and get going, which sounds good to me too. So we'll let him catch up on sleep a little bit. This will be another beautiful day of sailing. Might do some hand steering here. All right, enjoy the beautiful sailing sights. Also, a crazy thing that happened last night, the pin for the outhaul actually came off and sort of sheared through its teeth. So luckily it was really light air, but it was just a lumpy sea, and all of that friction kind of wiggled it loose, and yeah, so it landed on the deck, but I'm not sure if it's still usable. So right now we've got Dyneema doing the job, and we'll do some more repairs later. It's always something. Well, I just added a bit of a furl to the jib because the waves are really just rocking and rolling us back and forth, and it's creating a lot of vibration through the rig, and I think knocking a lot of wind out of the sails. So I think if the jib isn't so flappy with all of its area, if it's a little bit smaller, that flapping will be less aggressive. And so that's my theory, and we'll see. I don't think we've lost any boat speed yet with the slightly smaller jib, so we'll just see if it does a little less flapping, as you can hear there from these waves. So we'll see how that goes, and maybe we'll try the spinnaker later. So we'll go with that for now, and some big waves. Ugh. And we'll give that a try. Jibe ho! We were sailing pretty deep directly on course, but decided to jibe to get a slightly better angle with the waves, hopefully causing less slatting of the sails. Because of the light air and choppy seas, we used a mainsail preventer and thus needed to undo it in order for the sail to get to the other side and complete the jibe. Curtis centers up the Traveler to make pulling it around to the other side a little easier, while I take some slack out of the main sheet so it does not swing violently across the boat. After re-easing the mainsail, it was time to unfurl the jib. We had it furled for this particular jibe so we could adjust the sheets to another outside lead for this downwind sailing. Curtis headed back up the deck to readjust the preventer to the other side, and the jibe was completed. Time to jibe back. The winds are a-dying and we are not a-flying. After a little while, it was time to jibe back in search of more wind that would eventually lead to a good spinnaker angle for us. The preventer came off before the jibe yet again.
all right?
Gotta have an end scene.
Well, radio, time to go put the boom brake on. I'll show you guys how we do it here. Let's go up there and switch sides. So he runs right up here to just a low friction ring. And he goes on our bow cleat, which is pretty strong, so it's a good spot for this. Okay, he's ready to go. Out through there, outside the lifelines, and then we'll run this back. All right, let's climb back through here. This tail is a piece of Dyneema that goes out to the very end of the boom, and we leave him attached to the boom pretty much all the time. And then we just soft shackle him into a loop on our rope that runs forward. He's ready to go. He's now run outside of everything. Just need to finish running him back and putting him in the stopper. So back here we just take one of our spin sheet blocks, and then he goes forward into this jammer, this jammer is normally for our check stays or our lower back stays for our staysail. But we don't usually use the staysail with the preventer, so they go together. Lovely assistant Kate is going to run this through this cheek block right here for me.
And we're jive. High five. What is a preventer? The name preventer comes from preventing the mainsail from jibing accidentally. All right, maybe as we're rolling on these waves, and you can see it's wanting to flap and kind of swing over, and sometimes that momentum just doesn't stop, and overall it's safer as well. So that's why we have our preventer. Do we use the preventer in strong winds as well, Curtis?
Just depends on the conditions. If it's really rolly and the sail's having a hard time staying filled and there's a lot of rocking of the boat, or we're sailing extremely deep, almost dead downwind, then it's a great place to put a preventer. So as you can see, it's a long Dyneema strop that is essentially run from the end of the boom to the bow. And the reason why we take it from the very end to the boom is if it needs to actually stop the boom moving, if it was tied in the middle of the boom, it can actually break the boom in half. So we want to keep all of that force with as much leverage at the very, very end of the boom, where everything's designed to be, where it's strongest, where the main sheet attaches.
Before spinnaker speed.
What an absolutely gorgeous day here in Brazil to be sailing. So we finally got the energy up to throw the spinnaker up here, and now we're just moving along really nicely. I think it gave us about one more knot of boat speed and kind of stabilized the boat a little bit with a little more apparent wind, which is exactly what we were looking to do. So we're going to keep cruising on south here, likely to Portobello, which looks like a nice little anchorage. Hopefully we might see a little pilot whale or two out here.
Whoa! What in the world was that?
A tuna or a dolphin or something?
Well, whatever it is getting closer.
Yeah, they're coming to play.
Whoa, there's lots of them, babe.
There's a ton of them.
Oh, there's one right here, I think.
Oh yeah, they're coming. They're like, oh yeah.
Here we go,
Boat,
here we go,
boat,
here we go.
boat.
Whoa! Oh my gosh!
It's a cold morning outside my window. Where people don't know which way to go. I breathe you in 'cause you sensed it on my pillow. I stay home with you in my bed. We go undercover, I'll be your lover. We're up for night and day. Come on, let me hear you say, let's go undercover. I'm gonna be your lover. I don't want the games they play. It's not us, so we better stay. Is it real? Could this be a new beginning? Ooh, my heart falls apart because before you. There's a fire in my soul that keeps me spinning. And screaming, now is the time to follow through.
We are heading into the evening of day 2 here, and we've got the spinnaker flying and the autopilot driving. This is our first real chance to test out the spinnaker in the true wind steering mode, and so far it is an absolute success. We've had a couple gusts to about 18 from about 12. That's actually kicked the gust response into place and drove the boat down, which was really nice. The boat seems to be reacting pretty well. We haven't had one hitch on the kite yet. Kite hasn't fluttered. The boat is driving really well. Look, Mom, no hands.
I'll be your lover. We're up for night and day. Come on, let me hear you say, let's go undercover. I'm gonna be your lover. Don't want the games they play. It's not us, so we better stay.
Let me kind of zoom in here and explain what's going on and what some of these things mean on the Sailsteer screen. All right, here we go. Let's start with this number at the top. That is our current compass heading. So right now we're going about 250. And then underneath that, there's a little yellow dot. That right there is the heading to our waypoint that we have in the GPS. Right here, the A, this is our apparent wind angle. So this is what the boat feels coming across the boat. The T is the true wind angle, and that's what we want to steer to when we're driving the boat downwind. When we're going the other way, upwind, we want to steer towards the apparent wind angle, and that's why both of these are up here. That's what we've got going on here with the autopilot. Well, it definitely looks like it's starting to get pretty dark up ahead, so might have to go downstairs, check the weather, and see what's going to be in store for the night. Hopefully we can just run this kite all the way through, but no biggie if we can't. We'll put them in the sock and throw the number 3 up and chuck on through anything that we need to. All right, good stuff. We've got our weather downloaded through our PredictWind, and the IridiumGo did its job. It says the wind is supposed to die off and shift to more of a headwind for us here. This is such a drastic shift that I'm thinking there may be a front or something like that coming through there. Also, yeah, we've got rain coming. We can see that ahead of us. So it looks like after the rain, we may be going upwind a little bit. But it doesn't look like too big of a chance of major thunderstorms. Our Cape's about 400 or 500, which isn't ridiculous. This is the rain forecast. Here's our wave forecast. Okay, nothing too bad there, so should be expecting this around 4 in the morning. So hopefully we can run this kite through midnight. Ready? Spinnaker takedown. Let's do it. Hey, what's our true wind angle right now?
138.
I'll go down 15. Okay, what's our angle now?
You're set to 155.
Why don't you ease the sheet?
Okay. Using sheet.
Okay. Okay, tack line.
Tack line.
We on the halyard.
Halyard.
Go ahead, quickly. You wanna
Well
come
done,
up here
babe.
and help me stuff them?
Yep.
Time to make some coffee, sweet Ruka, offshore style. Here we go. You can't go wrong with sporks. Fork, spoon, and super lightweight. Alrighty guys. It's about 9 o'clock in the evening and we just took the spinnaker down. I had to wake Kate up to get a hand with that. Kate is taking a nap right now. She did a really phenomenal job last night. I was super tired. Kate really did everything. She pretty much single-handed the boat last night while I slept. So that was really cool. And now it's my turn. So we're back to the number 3 jib and the full mainsail. Had a little bit of lightning off over here to our starboard. We've had a couple squalls run through, but Nothing more than about 18 knots of wind maximum, so we haven't had to do any reefing or anything crazy like that. There's a little fishing boat. I guess I don't know if it's a fishing boat. There's a decent sized boat that is up off our port bow, about 10 degrees. And he's not shown on the AIS, and I can't pick him up on radar. So not picking him up on radar means he's probably not a freighter. So I'm guessing he's got some pretty big lights on him, so I'm guessing it's a fishing boat up there running without AIS, trying to hide out from his buddies. Well, we still haven't been able to figure out what that boat is that's up ahead of us. Its gauge is staying exactly the same, so that means that we could possibly collide. So we have to keep trying to figure out what's going on with that. Coffee, watching ships and radar, and being ready to reef. That's all you really need to know for night sailing. That's all there is to it.
The lights eventually passed to our stern as nothing did ever show up on AIS, reminding us of the importance of keeping watch at night.
This is what night watch looks like aboard the Sweet Ruka. Normally you really can't see anything up here, but I turned on all of the lights for you. It's raining a little bit. As you can see, there's some water on the isinglass. That's all just kind of rain. It's just raining on and off. We're just cruising right along, 7 to 8 knots, 15 to 18 knots of wind. And we've got the number 3 and the full mainsail. We didn't reef for the night. We thought about it because we saw some storms, but all the forecast was very low in what's called Cape, which means that there's not a lot of energy for really strong thunderstorms, and we didn't see any fronts moving through. So we kind of risked it, and it was a good gamble right now. So we're cruising right along, we're making good boat speed, and we'll have to see how tomorrow looks. Till then.
The next morning, Curtis was doing a little routine check of the boat systems and autopilot when he noticed the steering quadrant and rudder post looking particularly salty. Come to find out, there was some delamination behind the rudder post, where salt water was making its way into the boat. It's official. The hull has been compromised. Water is coming in. We knew this was going to put a major disruption to our plans. Stay tuned next week when we divert to the city of Itajaí in hopes of exploring the damage further. A special thank you to our patrons for making these videos possible. Help us reach our goals and hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time!